Hello, good evening once again. Welcome to another edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. The roads in Douala are in very, very terrible shape with accidents, delays in movements, and a lot of hurdles actually encountered by commuters in the city of Douala, Cameroon economic capital, with knowledge that people, vehicles, travelers have spent close to 7 hours at the east entrance of the town because of blockages caused by the terrible state of roads in this city. We equally are going to be looking at how costly or how cheap or moderate the houses described by many as low-cost houses are to the Cameroonian population, especially the common man. Are they viable enough to be able to get for themselves one of these houses and these so many projects that are being orchestrated or implemented in Cameroon called the low-cost housing scheme? Good evening and welcome. We are going to be looking at these two topics in the program today with our panelists who are already in the house as we await one who seemingly is still caught in traffic. We are welcoming George, Mr. Mofor. He is a social entrepreneur and expert on issues of development. He equally is a lecturer in a higher professional institute that I will not want to name here for reasons that we all know. I don't want to give them publicity. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Kum, and good evening to your viewers and my co-panelists. I hope we are going to have a great program today.
Equally in the house with us is Far Elvis Tayon. He is a journalist and a politician, a political analyst. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much, Leonard. It's a pleasure having me here after a while. And I think that from every indication, we will all be putting in place modest contributions to shape the kangaroo system that we have as of now.
Well, we equally are in the company of Salomon Bias. He's a jurist and a militant of the CRM movement led by incarcerated professor Maurice Kamto. Bonsoir et bienvenue.
Bonsoir Léo, bonsoir très chers copanélistes et bonsoir inconditionnel scotché sur la télévision Leader. Je voudrais profiter de cette antenne pour rendre un hommage à celui qui est le président du Mouvement pour la Renaissance, Maurice Kamto, le professeur émérite et homme politique, le premier homme politique du Cameroun à l'heure actuelle. Je ne vais pas faire l'économie des mots. Je voudrais profiter pour lui rendre hommage du sacrifice qu'il fait pour essayer d'apporter des changements dans notre pays. Loin dans sa cellule, il n'est pas seul. Nous sommes avec lui et nous sommes au quotidien en train de faire le travail qu'il nous a demandé dans la paix, dans la convivialité pour un Cameroun prospère. Merci et bonsoir.
Wow, Maurice Kamto should be happy out there at Kondengi listening to one of his militants paying so much tribute to him, or homage to him. While we begin this program, we want to call on all of you televiewers to vote for your best school institution. Please, if we have that information, can we have it on the screen? Our televiewers should start voting their best school. It could be nursery, primary, secondary, or university. Tell us why you consider that school the best in the country. We start our discussions with you, George, Mr. Mofor. The situation in Douala is really, really difficult, especially for commuters. It's difficult to move from one end of the city to the other, even to move out of the city to Yaoundé and equally get into Yaoundé. Can we understand what is not right with Douala?
What is not right with Douala is similarly what is not right with Cameroonians.
Okay.
This cannot be otherwise, because when you find a situation where there are code, I'm making reference here to the highway code, and all the stakeholders who are supposed to be respecting that code which is supposed to be guiding our actions on the highway. None, from the pedestrians to the bikes, right up to the people on 4 or 6 or 10 or 12 wheels. We cannot get anything but anarchy. Now, we are here talking about the broken roads. Talking about broken roads, it means that the roads were sometimes together or whole, and now they are breaking down, which means that somewhere along the line, the initiators of that road, if you take your mind to a project cycle, a project has a life, and after that, it's actually supposed to be redesigned, or there's supposed to be an element of maintenance for continuity, which means that somewhere along the line, the initiators of the road forgot to include the element of maintenance, especially after the lifespan of the road. Now, there is a question I was also asking myself, that when I looked at the level of usage of our road and the nature of the cars plying our road, you don't see new cars, but there are so many cars on our highway. I ask myself, is it that people recycle their old cars, or when cars are overused elsewhere, they bring them? It could be a reason why the roads are getting broken, but I think what is actually happening...
You think the cars cause the degradation of roads?
Yes, because engineers will tell you that a road is made to carry a certain weight in its lifespan. It is just like when we talk about depreciation, how money depreciates. Material put on the road also has a lifespan. They will tell you that roads could last this long. That's why you find institutions like what they call secondary roads, on paved roads, where every year they have to do resurfacing or maintenance, because it is intended to be used at a short time. And also, when you even look at the way some of our roads are constructed, it's also the engineers that will tell you, or the people who will sign the contract, they will tell you that this road is supposed to be constructed at this cost because it is given a lifespan of X number of years. And again, if you look at the contracts which are actually given out for road construction, when they say the roads have been handed over to the government, it is not completely taken over, because a particular period is given for observation, whether the material, whether the road was well built. But I want to say here, Cameroonians will definitely, rather than sitting here and saying that X is really responsible, we should be able to know that the responsibility of our road, directly or indirectly, we are all supposed to be part of ensuring that our roads... If you find a mechanic who is working on the highway or repairing cars and throwing or letting fuel spill on the on tar, he's also destroying the road. Just as if you find somebody who is transporting iron and is allowing that iron to be rolling on and scrubbing the surface of the road. Talk less of the persons who is actually driving a heavy-duty car and carrying overweight merchandise. That is part of the destruction of the roads. And then the almighty government, they have actually forgotten the responsibility that the Cameroonian people have given to them in terms of maintaining the patrimony which is bequeathed to them in such a way whereby the next generation can also enjoy this patrimony even when they are no more there. So at the end of the day, we should look at it squarely, and even if we are not part of the problem, let us be part of the solution.
Okay. You have really not told us what Cameroon is facing, what is not right with Cameroon. Now, the SDO 2 days ago banned the circulation of heavy-duty vehicles, trucks into and out of Douala from the east entrance of the town seemingly that order has not been respected, and that is causing the heavy traffic that people are observing at that part of town today. What is happening?
Well, the important thing is that everything is happening and things are falling apart. When you are in a system whereby there is no planification, because the government operates in a kangaroo system whereby they don't have clear-cut specifications and durations of the operations of their policies, which means they don't understand that when it comes to urbanization, housing, and town planning, these things are done taking into consideration the growing nature of the population over a given period of time. When you look at our GRAs, for example, you realize that the colonial masters who designed the structure of the GRAs knew that development would take place at a point in time in the next 1 or 2 centuries, so all those parameters were put in place. If you go to Kumba, upstation, you go to Boya, GRA, Limbe, GRA, Bamenda, GRA, that's government residential areas, you realize that the colonial powers that came and stationed themselves in those areas took into consideration the planification of those areas. That's why when you look at the structures in those places, they are well classified, taking into consideration numerous outlets of the road, such that one road will not be overcrowded over the years, because that is the only main road people are using to go through. Now, when you come down to the prefectorial order, as I said from time to time that we just get up one morning and take actions as if we are from a beer parlor. There is no clear-cut aspect of people assessing. But if we take this order, 1, is it going to be respected? 2, what might be the consequences of some of this? I was moving to Nyala the other day and some few vehicles were stationed along the road. And most of them were stationed opposite each other, trucks. Which means why the trucks were stationed, it still caused heavy traffic because they do not even respect the norms of stationing their trucks along the road. So at the end of it, you keep asking yourself, even as the order has come, why is it that we still get the traffic? Poor maintenance policy is another one. You have what we call the technical checking services, what they call visite technique in French. That is a business that has been put in place by the state for some hoodlums to feed fat on it. Because you will find vehicles like what Mr. Mufo is saying. You will find vehicles as old as Cameroon. They are on the highway. The kind of waste they send through their exhaust, you cannot believe. And at the end of it, they tell you these vehicles have gone through what the Frenchman calls visite technique. Yet, you look at it, it is a death trap moving. At the level of the road, these weighing stations, that is another kangaroo system put in place to make some elites who have those contracts feed fat at the detriment of us. Vehicles load above their capacity and they pass through the weighing stations and pay their bribes. And the capacity loading of the vehicle, once it's above, it has a direct impact between the vehicle, the tires of the vehicle, and the tarmac. These are issues that I don't know whether the country have been cursed. Because all what they do is to deceive people that they have all the checks and balances. The roads will obviously get bad because vehicles pass through control checkpoints. Police are taking their own money. Gendarmes in the name of routiers are taking theirs. Normal gendarmes are taking theirs. Multiplicity of checkpoints, and nobody is asking whether is this vehicle even in good shape. How does it ply on the road when we have dangers of this nature? So at the end of it, we will be saying that the congestions will still be there, because as it is, this is African Cup of Nations coming. It's now that the government knows that they are supposed to create inter-town roads or inter-urban city roads. Because all they knew before was the main roads. Roads that were arranged by Haijo, they are left there. Even maintenance is a problem. Yet they have toll gates, another kangaroo system that collects money every day. And when it comes to maintenance of the roads, they stay aloof.
Now,
It's a call for concern.
can we understand why these truck drivers would not respect the orders of the SDO?
Yes, truck drivers will not respect the order of the SDOs because those who are supposed to enforce the law are all corrupt.
Okay.
So the person to enforce the law is the police or the gendarme. But the moment a truck driver moves and the police stops the vehicle, he removes his money and gives. And it goes through. So at the end of it, we are paying the price. We are reaping from the monster of corruption that we built in this regime.
Salomon Bias, est-ce qu'il y a une crise des routes grave à Douala?
Léo Koum, je vais vous dire qu'il y a une crise des routes généralisée dans notre pays.
Okay.
Ce n'est pas seulement le Cameroun, Léo. Douala, du moins la région du littoral, a 4 grands départements. Le département du Mungo, Sanaga maritime, le département du Vouri et le département du Nkam. Léo, quand vous avez eu la possibilité de faire un tour dans ces départements, parce que j'ai vécu dans le Mungo, vous avez les larmes aux yeux. Quand vous allez dans le Kam, c'est encore quelque chose de catastrophique. Vous vous demandez si vous êtes même encore dans le littoral. Si vous allez dans la Sanaga maritime, à l'époque, la ville de Déa, qu'est-ce qu'elle était? Aujourd'hui, c'est comme s'il y a eu la guerre et dont les gens ont été enlevés de toute urgence. Le seul département qui essaye un peu d'avoir un air, n'est-ce pas, de visibilité, c'est le département du Vouri. Même lui encore, il est extrêmement catastrophique. En réalité, quand on vit dans un pays où les dirigeants n'anticipent pas, où les dirigeants ne font pas de projection, où les dirigeants ne planifient pas, où on est toujours pris dans les taux de faire les plans d'urgence. Les plans d'urgence sur le plan économique, les plans d'urgence sur le plan politique, les plans d'urgence sur le plan de l'éducation, les plans d'urgence sur le plan de la justice. Alors, on se retrouve aussi en train de faire les plans d'urgence sur la construction des routes. Nous nous rendrons bien compte que toute œuvre humaine, Léo, a un âge de vie. L'homme lui-même a l'espérance de vie. Combien de fois les routes? Nous vivons dans un environnement où il n'y a eu aucune projection, à savoir que les infrastructures que nous avons eues avec le régime Aïdjo d'une certaine époque, qui était géré par les plans quinquennaux, devaient trouver des limites compte tenu de la densité de la population, compte tenu du flux de transport et compte tenu de l'environnement socio-économique plus globalement. Nous arrivons donc à ce que nous voyons là. Ce n'est pas le premier échec de ce régime. C'est la preuve inéluctable que ce régime n'est plus capable de faire quoi que ce soit. Léo, nous avons eu ce qu'on a appelé le plan d'urgence triennal, qui a mis sur pied la construction des grands projets structuraux dans lesquels le barrage de Lompanga, de Meveleux, je ne pourrais citer que cela. Où en sommes-nous aujourd'hui? Échec total. On n'est pas capable de booster la production.
Échec total. Les barrages sont construits.
Écoutez, un barrage hydroélectrique a pour rôle de booster la production en énergie électrique. Demandez, allez au GICAM, demandez à tous ces grands producteurs, est-ce que le Cameroun peut être un pays compétitif dans le domaine économique? Est-ce que la quantité d'énergie qui est produite dans nos barrages peut faire fonctionner une industrie au Cameroun? Non. Quand d'un côté allume ces machines, du côté du rond-point, il y a le délestage partout. C'est la vérité, ce sont les faits. Est-ce qu'il y a un seul quartier à Douala où on ne coupe pas la lumière? Je voudrais progresser pour dire...
Non, nous parlons des routes. Hein.
Je suis en train de venir pour démontrer l'échec. L'échec est toujours l'échec de ce régime parce qu'il ne projette rien. Nous venons d'une catastrophe accrue qui est celle qui n'a pas été projetée. Le président Aïdjo avait organisé une CAN en 72. Et ceux qui ont pris le pouvoir en 90 n'ont jamais compris qu'il y avait possibilité que le Cameroun organise une CAN. Ils sont restés détournés de l'argent au point où organiser la CAN est devenu comme quelque chose qu'on doit faire en urgence, alors que c'est une fête qu'on planifie. Conclusion, échec. Regardez ce que le ministre des Travaux publics a fait. Il est lui-même surpris qu'une entreprise qui a soumissionné a livré un projet dont nous sommes aujourd'hui seulement au 6%, n'est-ce pas, du taux des travaux, d'avancement des travaux, sur des sommes de près de 33 milliards de francs. Et le ministre est surpris qu'une entreprise qui est en train de livrer des travaux à cette hauteur n'ait pas d'expérience. Je voudrais me poser la question de savoir...
Non, il a demandé de savoir s'ils avaient des expériences.
Écoutez,
ils ont dit qu'ils ont construit
je voudrais me poser la question de savoir, oui. Léo, il y a un dicton africain qui dit que le poisson pourrit par la tête. Quand vous regardez la loi sur les passations de marchés publics au Cameroun, est-ce qu'une entreprise qui doit livrer les travaux à hauteur de 33 milliards vient se faire contrôler quand il n'est pas en train d'exécuter les travaux, alors qu'il y a un document de soumission qu'il présente pour qu'il soit choisi comme étant celui-là qui est prêt d'exécuter? C'est la preuve inéluctable que nous sommes dans un système où tous les paramètres sont au rouge et tous ceux-là qui ont, n'est-ce pas, la destinée de notre pays sont soit des incapables, soit des personnes...
Vous ne m'avez pas dit l'état de la route.
Je suis en train de vous expliquer. C'est très désastreux. Il est inconcevable, inadmissible qu'on fasse 10 heures de temps pour partir de village à Yaoundé. Imaginez-vous ce que ça peut faire sur le plan économique, ce que ça peut faire sur le plan culturel, les rendez-vous ratés, les contrats manqués. Est-ce que l'État du Cameroun est prêt à payer tout cela qui sont victimes, n'est-ce pas, de son incapacité à travers tous ceux qu'ils ont placés à la hauteur de cette République? Non, c'est désastreux et c'est un malheur pour notre pays.
Mr. Mofo, can we see in this, he says the situation is disastrous. Can we actually understand why municipal or administrative authorities were or are not able to foresee? Because what is happening in Douala today was foreseeable 10, 20 years ago.
Well, you know, one of the things that we should be honest with ourselves is that this is a country that has some very good laws in terms of written down procedure on how things are supposed to be rolled out. There are classification of roads, and you cannot say a municipal council should be able to take control of a highway.
Yeah, but we are talking about Douala. At least you came to this studio. You've seen the state of the roads. If you were to leave Makepe towards Cité, going towards Ndokoti, you've seen the road. Those are no highways.
Yeah, no, I was coming to that.
Okay.
I just wanted to let us know that with that classification of roads, and you go back to the public contract code, also they have also classified contracts in terms of their cost and also the where it is supposed to be undertaken. And when it comes to, you know, they will tell you there is a maximum in use 4.9. That's a contract that you can negotiate between without passing through a contract board. Then when you go to above that, you definitely have to have either the SDO, governor, ministers, just like that. They have different portfolio. But now talking about a contract like the one that we are all talking about, the highway contract of billions. Those are contracts which are actually negotiated at the level of the presidency with a whole commission sitting down. And paradoxically, because of the multiplicity of actors, because there is a whole ministry in this country, which is the Ministry of Public Contracts. But you see again, at the level of the owner ministries, like the Ministry of Public Works in this case, they are supposed to be the persons that the road that is produced is handed to them now for maintenance. Or when the contract has been signed over now, they are the ones who are supposed to now follow up its implementation. But somewhere along the line, which I agree with one of the speakers here, is that from the point of giving out this contract, it is supposed to be a collegial activity whereby technicians from the Ministry of Public Contract and those of Public Works, they are supposed to put their heads together. Because don't forget, actually it is the Ministry of Public Works that does the studies. And then now hand over, because there's something they call project maturation, maturation, whereby the projects are prepared and they hand them over now to the Ministry of Public Contracts that now call now for tenders for those who can bid and get the contracts done. And then the Ministry of Public Contract now, the Public Works now because it is under his jurisdiction, follows up its monitoring and evaluation. But again, somewhere along this line, a minister and the human being, at some point, you delegate now, you're monitoring now to some other person. The same thing even with the minister, the municipal council.
You are trying to explain how this.
Now I'm saying that I'm coming out to the municipality.
Yes.
Is the minister of decentralization and local government. There are also packages that a mayor by himself can also give out a contract without getting.
But my question is, when you look at the state of the roads today, don't you see that there was no plan to envisage a possibility of Douala getting so big to where it is today? Look at the state of the roads behind here. I'm sure that allocations were not made to be able to cater for the expanding nature of a town like Douala.
I was coming to that point because we were talking about projections.
That's it, yeah.
We generally, if you go to other countries, they know what will happen to them in 100 years.
In the next 20 years, we should be
100 years. They should be able, because these are, you know, what I'm saying is that technology has been in such a way whereby you can simulate, which means you can work on simulation based on parameters of today. Take it so that we're talking about to the masses so that they understand. We know that our population growth is 2.3. It means that what are we saying? We are saying that every year, if we are 10 million today, by the next year we should have 2,300 persons added to, or 23 million people, 23,000 persons added if our population is growing by 2.3, which means per thousands. But now, when you are, like he is saying, when you are projecting that, you should also make provision that these people are going to need roads, they are going to need houses, they are going to need schools, they are going to need, and when all of that,
number of vehicles are possibly going
that's right.
to double.
So those are the type of projection which I am saying that somewhere along the line there is a missing link on that.
There is a missing link on that catastrophic state of roads in Douala, and like Solomon Bias said earlier on, if you were to go to all the 4 divisions in the littoral region, if you go to Nkam, it's disastrous. Go to Sanaga Maritime, it's also disastrous, because if you were to leave Mbongo to Dizange to Mwanko, the roads are impassable. If you were to go to the Mungo division, that you are moving away from Melong, away from Kongsamba, the roads are very impassable. Can we also blame this on the conflicting roles that different ministries are playing as far as road construction and relative projects are concerned? We have the Ministry of Public Contracts that is there. We have the Ministry of Housing, Town Planning and Housing. We saw the minister who was here, Kutes, who came shouting at the sorry state of the road in Douala. We have the municipalities, you have the government delegates, you have the mayors. Finally, nobody wants to work because tomorrow the blame is laid on the other ministry.
Yes, you know that when I keep saying that a kangaroo system is operating in this country, people seem to maybe not take it very serious. Now, you realize from what you say is true, because we had a period before the crisis started. There was a portion of road at Meta Quarters in Bamenda. And I remember being a reporter there in Bamenda. Each time when we contact the government delegates, he will say it is the Minister of Urban Affairs, or how do you call it, Urban Development, that is charged. When you go up and meet the regional delegate up, he tells you it is the government delegate. So at the end, you know, as pressmen were being toasted left to right, with each person drawing his own law to favor his own direction. So at the end of it, when you look at even the issues of roads, you discover that it is true there are trunk A or major roads that are supposed to be taken care of by when it comes to taking care of, if it's construction, urban affairs, if it is maintenance, then we get the government delegate. And then when it comes down to small roads in the quarters, we say the councils are supposed to do what we call rural roads also. Now, but the question is, when you come to urban areas, do you qualify roads in the quarters as rural roads? It becomes another $1 million question, because the rural roads issue with the close to 30 million that's also allocated for maintenance goes where in the rural areas. But in the urban areas, if you look at even just opening, most of the roads within the quarters are even already tarred, even though the tarmac is already off. And when it comes down to maintain those kind of roads, it becomes much more difficult. So at the end of it, we realize that we have a confused system whereby the laws come in. I happen to have been in Malabo, that's 2 years ago, and I realized that they have a very simple system. When it comes to contracts, it is run at the level of the presidency. This issue of RMP, mini-part, public contract is not there. Presidency controls projects that has to do with roads, clean and clear. When it comes to issues of, when it comes to building of houses and all the like, they give it to the Ministry of Housing there. Then when it comes to issues of the Ministry of Transport, when it has to do with building of parks, motor parks, railway stations, transport. So you discover for them, it's clearly stated. So you will not hear somebody say that there are conflicting laws that A was supposed to do this. But in our own system, it comes in a place whereby urban affairs, I don't even know how they even made it that they should be taking care of roads. Whereas they should have been taking care of urbanization and then leave the whole thing for people like public contract and the transport to have manned that. But unfortunately, for Cameroon, transport only controls circulation. Whereas we thought that the users, the experts who know the usage of the road are supposed to be Ministry of Transport. And so under normal conditions, they were even supposed to be charged with that so that they would know how to construct the roads in relation to the kind of vehicle that's supposed to apply. But so unfortunately...
you are suggesting that in addition of the Ministry of Public Works, public contracts, housing and urbanization, transport should be added?
No, not suggesting. The suggestion you are talking is correct, but I'm suggesting, yes, and subtracting that this issue of public works, then public contract should be scrapped. It's either we have Ministry of Public Contract finished. The public work issue comes in to confuse the whole system. Public contract will be taken charge of, whether it's anything public works is already public contract. And so they should leave it to them. And then transport now should now come in, whereby transport, when it comes to roads construction, that's his proposal. It's supposed to be manned by the expert in the field. I was surprised during sometime we were preparing for CAN arrangements, when I interviewed the regional delegate in the southwest of transport, and I was surprised that the local committees that were put in place, the delegate of transport was not even among at the local committee. You get the point. So you start asking yourself, but where are we heading to? Therefore, it is the price we pay for running too many ministries with no portfolio. They are forced to be clashing, and these are the feedbacks we get on the ground.
Salomon Bias, est-ce que c'est l'auto-centralisation des projets au Cameroun, où les projets sont on fait la location des projets à Yaoundé qui s'exécutent à Douala et que peut-être les autorités de Douala n'ont pas compétence à parler parce que, on va dire, c'est le ministre qui doit nous parler, c'est Yaoundé qui doit juger mon travail.
L'autocentralisation du pouvoir n'est qu'un pan. À la vérité, c'est que quand on construit une république avec les médiocres, et que c'est la médiocrité qui prime, alors on se retrouve dans un système où on met les médiocres partout, et comme ils n'ont pas l'amour de la nation, leur rôle, c'est le vol. Je vais vous expliquer quelque chose de simple, Léo. Le département d'Unkam, j'y ai été là-bas. Je connais ce département. Il a 4 arrondissements. Il y a Yabassi, Yingi, il y a Konjok, il y a Ndobian. Est-ce que vous savez, Léo, que partant de Douala pour Yabassi, quand vous arrivez à Yabassi, si vous êtes une femme enceinte, je pense que vous allez perdre votre bébé sur la route. Et je ne vais pas m'arrêter là. Quand on part de Yabassi pour Loum, parce que cette route a été conçue sous le régime du président Aïdjo, le tout premier président. Et cette route est supposée déjà finie. On part de Yabassi, on passe par un district qu'on appelait le district de Babon pour arriver à Loum. Quelqu'un est à Yabassi, il veut se rendre à Loum, mais il est obligé de venir à Douala, de partir de Douala pour Loum. Alors que partir de Yabassi pour Loum n'est que 45 km. Et je vais vous expliquer, Léo, j'ai fait cette route à pied pour essayer de comprendre avec la médiocrité avec laquelle mon pays est géré. C'est dans la région du littoral. Vous vous demandez si effectivement le Cameroun est une Afrique en miniature. Est-ce que vous savez que si vous êtes à Yabassi, vous ne pouvez pas arriver à Konjok, où il y a un député qu'on appelle Komba Gaston, et où il y avait un enfant qu'on appelait Titi Pierre. Ils étaient tous des grands barons de ce pays. Si vous voulez arriver à Konjok, vous ne pouvez pas partir de l'arrondissement de Yabassi pour aller dans un autre arrondissement qui est dans le même département. Vous êtes obligé de venir à Douala, prendre la voiture pour Douala, Bafang. De Bafang maintenant, vous partez à Kondiok. Et quittant de Bafang pour Kondiok, Léo, pour celui qui n'est jamais arrivé, je vais vous expliquer. Si vous êtes une femme enceinte, je ne vous conseille pas. Et je parie que une ambulance ne peut pas emprunter ce chemin. Parce que même si vous souffrez du palu et que vous entrez dans l'ambulance, vous mourrez avant d'arriver. Quand vous êtes à Yingi, Léo, je vais vous expliquer. Partant de Yabassi pour Yingi, c'est 50 km. De Yabassi pour Yingi, il n'y a pas de route. Or, cette route a été tracée durant l'époque du président Aïdjo. Et cette route était plus valable à cette époque que maintenant. Elle a été sombrée dans les oubliettes. Et je vais vous expliquer. Dans cette zone-là, il y a des gens comme les Mottes Samuel qui sont des grands de ce pays. Je vais vous dire, ce sont les enfants du coin, je suis tout à fait d'accord. Ce sont des Camerounais, il faut qu'on sache de quel coin ces gens sont. Pour qu'on sache, parce que ces gens, à longueur de journée, expliquent à suffisance comment ce pays marche bien. Est-ce que vous savez qu'arrivé à Yingi, il y a une autoroute qui devait partir de Douala à Yingi, Yingi-Dogba Saben, Dogba Saben Dikinimeki. Parce que celui qui est à Yabassi peut passer par Yingi, Dogba Saben arriver à Dikinimeki.
Est-ce qu'on peut revenir
Je suis en train de vous expliquer le désastre qu'il y a. Parce que quand on s'arrête seulement sur Douala, on a l'impression que ça va partout. Je vous dis, Douala n'est que la partie visible.
Est-ce que vous pouvez relater ce que vous êtes en train d'expliquer à l'autocentralisation?
Je suis en train de relayer ça à l'autocentralisation du pouvoir, oui, à la médiocrité dans la gestion, au manque de planification et au vol aggravé. Parce que le Cameroun se situe aujourd'hui parmi les premiers pays en Afrique où les membres du gouvernement sont beaucoup plus en prison pour des faits de détournement des fonds publics et des deniers publics. Pour les faits de détournement pas des millions, des centaines de millions et les milliards. C'est un pays qui donne des larmes aux yeux, Léo. Quand vous êtes un enfant du Cameroun et que vous faites le tour du Cameroun, vous vous demandez si ceux-là qui sont à Yaoundé sont même soucieux de ce que le Cameroun est un pays qui a des enfants et dont ces enfants doivent vivre de façon paisible et heureuse sur toute l'étendue du territoire.
Now, 2 minutes, Mr. Mofo George, can we say that it is because decisions are taken at the level of Yaoundé? That is, I get my contract from Yaoundé, and in the littoral region, maybe the governor, the government delegate, or whosoever, the regional delegate of public contracts or public works has no competence to control or sanction your activities.
Yes, because if you take a clear example, the roads that was blocked around the village area coming, a minister did not have to leave Yaoundé to come and give or to come and see it on site. If it was clearly the responsibility of even the mayor,
delegates, yeah,
even the mayor of Douala 3, whereby that activity is taking place within his jurisdiction to take concrete measure. It's not a minister who to come there to now start saying that, okay, let us open. And then it's even worse because after he went back to Yaoundé, he had now to invite his collaborators now for him now to actually suspend the contractor that he made there, which for those who have been watching television and listening to the radio, it has been an embarrassment for a minister quarreling with a service provider whom he's doubting how did he come to get such a job. Talk less again of somebody who was supposed to act like an intermediary to be monitoring the execution as per the contract that the minister is asking, and you found a man who was like confused. Instead of playing the role of the arbiter, he was trying to justify why the contractor was not doing his right job, and the minister had to interject and say that is not your work. So it's all about power centralization, and again the current trend now is that we have lived with that for the past, I don't know, since 72 to today. Why don't we take a different form of state? These are all evidence that we should also try another form of state and see whether we will not be a better country.
Okay, we are moving back to the newsroom to find out what stories are making headlines today across the nation.
one of more than 200 majors of HIPMAT, I am proud of my success. It all began at HIPMAT.
I am a CEO. I coach and lead a team of salespeople. I don't hesitate to tell them the vision was planted and molded by HIPMAT.
Today, I stand on a pedestal of experienced and committed lecturers. The foundation was laid by HIPMAT.
For over a decade, HIPMAT's credibility and ministerial recognition have trained more than 15,000 professionals in business management and engineering from HND to BTech, MBA, and what have you. With an outstanding partnership with the University of Bamenda for BTech and MBA programs, our undoubted commitment to your show's success is a reflection of the future you painted. The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, HIPMAT, a university for professionals.
De l'inédit au Cameroun, le tout premier collège canadien ouvre ses portes dès septembre 2019. Performance Education Center, en partenariat avec les grandes écoles canadiennes, offre aux élèves du second cycle un cadre prestigieux, calme et propice pour des études avec des enseignants chevronnés canadiens et camerounais. À Performance Education Center, obtenez le baccalauréat canadien, vous ouvrant automatiquement les portes des plus grandes universités canadiennes et du monde via les bourses d'études garanties. Performance Education Center propose également des programmes de formation bilingue de 2 ans permettant d'obtenir un permis de travail au Canada après obtention d'une attestation d'études collégiales du Québec équivalent du BTS sous l'assistance de Performance Immigration Canada. Performance Education Center est situé à Locbessou, derrière Antenne CRTV, 10e avenue. Performance Education Center, visa vers le Canada et le monde.
Good evening and welcome to the 7:45 Prime News on My Media Prime. We begin with our top stories. Men of God in Tiko municipality have been called upon for a general prayer for peace in Cameroon. The call was made by the divisional officer for Tiko. Many families have been rendered homeless in Babise village in Ngokitunja division of the northwest region of Cameroon after heavy rainfall which caused floods in the village. And Cameroon's Minister of Public Works has expressed dissatisfaction over the construction works on some earmarked projects in the littoral region of Cameroon. You're welcome. You're welcome. Those were our top stories. Now the news in full. Cameroon's Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Jumesu, has expressed dissatisfaction over the ongoing construction works and some earmarked projects in the littoral region. The minister was speaking yesterday in Douala at the close of his official visit, as Mechuge Stanley reports.
The Public Works Minister's 24-hour visit to the littoral region took him to Yassa, Japuma, Dibamba Road projects under construction, while at the Yassa-Nyala Road project site, which has recorded only a 6% execution rate, the Public Works boss had a heated verbal exchange with the officials of the Chinese construction firm.
Nous sommes en saison de pluie. Est-ce que vous devez faire les terrassements en saison de pluie? Ça c'est la première question. La deuxième question, qu'est-ce qu'on fait exactement ici? Avec quel matériel? Vous êtes en train de faire quoi?
Minister Nganu Jumesu also expressed dissatisfaction with the output of the project supervisor.
Non, ce n'est pas vous qui devez expliquer, monsieur. Vous devez surveiller ce qui se passe. Le conducteur, lui, c'est le conducteur des travaux qui dit qu'est-ce qu'il doit faire. Et quand c'est approuvé, votre rôle, c'est de surveiller. Vous ne devez pas vous substituer à l'entreprise, monsieur. Et que ça cesse. Et c'est ça qui complexifie. Vous êtes mission de contrôle, vous êtes chef d'entreprise. Bon Dieu.
According to the minister, the project's logbook was not respected by the Chinese construction company.
Il s'agit en réalité de 3 voies en 2, donc de réaliser 27 km de chaussée, 2 ouvrages inférieurs et supérieurs, 5 giratoires. C'est le continuum de la phase 1, aujourd'hui achevé. Une entreprise a été sélectionnée pour réaliser ces travaux. Une mission de contrôle a été sélectionnée pour en assurer la maîtrise d'œuvre. Mais nous notons avec beaucoup de peine.
The low execution rate prompted the Public Works Minister to suspend the Chinese company. Meanwhile, an evaluation team will be created by Littoral's governor to assess the work and propose solutions. However, it was agreed that an alternative 18-kilometer road would be created to ease circulation in the Nyala neighborhood.
A preparatory meeting for the upcoming 2019-2020 academic year took place yesterday at the council chambers in Boya. This meeting involved all educational stakeholders in the region. Our correspondent in Boya, Ekome Christine Nuela, was there and now reports.
In preparation for the upcoming 2019-2020 school year, educational stakeholders in the region have in a recent gathering at the Boya Council Chambers brainstormed on measures to ensure a hitch-free school resumption and effective commencement of classes. The stakeholders equally examined the just-ended 2018-2019 school year, wherein the predominant complaint and challenge was that of the Anglophone crisis, which some said has bitten more than it can chew. Presiding over the meeting on Tuesday, August 6, 2019, was the governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okaliabilai, who said the time to begin actions is now. He added that nobody or nothing has the right to prevent the 2019-2020 academic year from being a successful one. Education, he said, is a necessity and every child must benefit from it. According to the regional delegate of secondary education, Dr. Hannah Etondembua, fear was one of the main reasons why many parents did not send their children to school. She said the crisis had a series of devastating effects at the secondary level in particular and education in the region as a whole.
There was a lot of fear because of the trend of things. You know, this school year, the secessionists came up with this issue of kidnap, of shooting, of miming, and because of that, many parents were afraid to send their children to school. And even many teachers and school administrators were afraid for their lives, considering that some people who were shot were even shot in their offices. I'll always quote, the instance of the principal of GSS Ebeko Emmanuel, who was shot in his office.
With the support of the administration by providing security measures, Dr. Hannah Etondembua said the school year came to an end successfully, and that accounted for an increase in the percentage pass at this year's Cameroon General Certificate of Education.
We thank God that with the assistance of the administrative authorities of the region, of the division, the subdivisions, and even the municipal authorities of our various municipalities, efforts were put in place. Security was enhanced within schools and around schools, and we had a few schools that functioned, and by His grace, God's grace, we got to the end of this school year successfully, with even an increase in our performance in end of course and certificate examinations.
At the level of employment and vocational training, the regional delegate Ngondo John also laid blames on the Anglophone crisis but pleaded on the government to redouble its efforts in maintaining security in the region.
We continue to thank the government for the effort made, but we think that if it is doubled, if these efforts are doubled, the situation will be better improved. The government too should take its responsibility to ascertain that the minimum packages that are program for schools should reach the schools on time.
While assuring the public that everything has been put in place to effectively kickstart the 2019-2020 academic year, all the stakeholders were called to tighten their seatbelts and put all hands on deck to make sure that the upcoming school year is a total success.
Dozens of families have been rendered homeless in Babese village, Ngok-Tunja division in the northwest region of Cameroon following heavy downpour which occurred yesterday. Lasha Kingsley has details of this story.
Heavy rains accompanied by powerful storms have left dozens of families homeless in Babese, a village in Ngok-Tunja division in the northwest region of Cameroon. The ugly floods on August 5, 2019 destroyed over 60 houses and rendered 48 families homeless. They are now grappling with hygiene and sanitation problems. These images show ferocious waves of water rolling onto the village, submerging Nchui, Mbombenzo and Abakwa quarters, leaving scores of people, mostly women and children, wading through water at knee level. They had to run helter-skelter for their lives. At press time, the water has receded and people are counting their losses. No official account of lives lost and property damaged has been disclosed. On the part of the community, Babese top elite under the umbrella of Wushicho Cultural and Development Association is still to set a committee to evaluate the human and material damage caused by the floods. According to the Fon of Babese, Fon Oliver Nsondonembio III, the floods were caused by the blockage of some drainages. The floods washed away some 160 hectares of titled land for the cultivation of rice, plantains, cocoyams, and beans. Experts say water from Bamenjin Dam has caused the water table in many areas of Ndop Plain to rise, reducing farmlands and putting pressure on fertile land. This has deprived the predominantly farming population of Babese from their livelihood. The government of Cameroon, notwithstanding, brought in relief in October 2012. Jules Dorendongo, former minister delegate to the Territorial Administration, Ministry in charge of decentralization and territorial authorities, visited the flood-stricken community with relief aid worth France CFA 20 million and France CFA 80 million cash to enable the victims start a new life. The France CFA 80 million, however, soon became a taboo. Floods recurrent in most parts of Ndop Plain. In September 2012, 60 houses were reduced to rubble and at least 95 families displaced.
A 60-chapter book titled Your Condition is Not Your Conclusion has been launched in Boya. The book, written by late Reverend Father Nugi Alexander Sop and Awa Clive, was launched recently. Ikomek Christine Ruela completes the story.
The book is titled Your Condition is Not Your Conclusion.
Your condition is not your conclusion. This is the title of the book written by the late Father Alexander Sopnogi and Clive Awa. Launched at the St. Charles Luanga Parish Hall, Moliko Boya, the book, which consists of 60 chapters, is built on a spiritual, moral and optimistic perspective. Present at the launching ceremony were Reverend Fathers James Chikezie and Father Mike Mbui, the head of the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication in the University of Boya, Dr. Kingsley Lyongalangange, Catholic Christians in the region and the nation as a whole. Addressing the persons present in the hall, Dr. Kingsley Ngange said it takes three main things to change one's condition in life: yourself, others, and God. Clive Awa, the second author of the book, explains that the book was written by himself and the late Father Sop to pass on a message of hope to those who feel their present condition is their conclusion.
encouraging the youth to pick up, to wake up from slumber and not make lazy excuses, flimsy excuses that this is not working out. There is never a perfect time. As we are talking like this same period, people are becoming millionaires. If you send some people's opinions around, you see that people, these past 3 years, millionaires have emerged in the same southern Cameroon that is facing crisis. Do they have 2 heads? Do they have 4 eyes? Do they have brains bigger than yours? No. The problem is focus. Concentrate on what you are doing, and people will recognize that you know what you are doing. We need to convince the society that we know what we are doing.
He added that halfway into the completion of the book, Father Sop kicked the bucket, making things difficult for him to have completed the book earlier enough.
I was traumatized because it's like I did not know what was happening. I still could not believe Father was dead and that he was not going to come back. So after all the depression and so on, he will always say, life is too short to drink back wine. And he will say, people must change severally to be what they want to become. Then I had to pick up the broken pieces of my life. Since I had the whole idea of the work, I had to continue with it, make it, what it is today. With the help of the priests in the house, other intellectuals in the community, they really put in their lot to make this book what it is today. So that is how the book is coming out, even after his demise.
Dr. Ngange Kingsley said the late Father Sop was more than a brother to him, reasons why he actively took part in the book launch. Optimism, he said, is key. He encouraged all to always believe in God and never give up in life despite their condition, because with God, all things are possible.
All I know is he's surely sitting up in heaven and smiling down on us and praying for me and praying for all those who loved him and wished him well. The book was reviewed, as I said, at 3 levels. The structural analysis, which talk of 60 chapters of equal length. 23 of them have 3 pages each. 29 of them 4 pages each. 7 have 5 pages each, and 1 has 2 pages. It's what I call a balanced diet, treating all the topics that you would imagine that affect us, and dedicating one of the chapters on the topic of the book itself. Your condition is not your conclusion.
The 60-chapter book has 237 pages, 3 prelude pages. 23 of the chapters have a length of 3 pages each. 29 chapters consist of 4 pages each. 7 chapters have 5 pages, and 1 chapter is 2 pages long. Speeches, musical interludes, reviews of the book title are some of the many activities which characterize the launching ceremony. Many persons confess that the book and the words of encouragement in it will go a long way to always remind them of the wonder boy, Reverend Father Alexander Sop Nugi, of blessed memory.
The divisional officer for TICO has assembled men of God from various denominations to pray for peace in Cameroon. The service took place in TICO recently. I was attended by our correspondent, Ekomi Nuela Christie.
We called him and he has already answered, and we can only give him glory for that.
Ecumenical service involving men of God from different denominations has taken place at the TICO municipality, southwest region of Cameroon. The men of God were present to thank God for TICO adding their voices to others in the call and prayers for peace to return in the country. Presided over by the divisional officer of TICO, Asongwe Cletus, the event brought together a multitude of sons and daughters of TICO who also came to pray for peace to be restored in the 2 English-speaking regions of the country. The divisional officer thought it wise to use such an occasion to enhance togetherness, love, peace and harmony among the inhabitants of the municipality and its environs. He called on all, be them Christians or Muslims, to follow the example of peace, because peace is all which is needed.
We have given back TICO to God, and our presence here was a reminder to all of us that we are supposed to be instruments of peace. We therefore call on all the populations of TICO, whether you are Muslim or Christian, to follow this example of peace, because peace is what we need now. The good Lord has been so kind to us here, but we don't have to take everything for granted. We have to do what is right, is put ourselves right before God, so that He continues to give us the wisdom which is needed to guide the people that He has confided.
He applauded the population of Tiko for being very patriotic, devoted, focused, and being able to recognize him and accord him that respect as their shepherd and leader.
It is only a message of peace that I have, that we live together, that we continue to live in perfect harmony, that we continue to see each other as a brother, as a sister, so that together Cameroon will be a better place for all of us to live.
TO hoped and was optimistic that with the many prayer services organized and positive mindset of the people, the crisis will come to an end and things return to normalcy in the Tiko municipality and the nation at large.
Media practitioners in Meme Division, Southwest region of Cameroon, are still mourning the death of Obu Ivo. The media personality, who was fondly called Ogali, passed on recently in Kumba after a protracted illness. Tamful Sidwan tells us more from Kumba.
These are friends, family members and colleagues of Obu Ivo, popularly known as Chief Dr. Linus Yahweh One. It is very difficult to believe that this radio animator and a celebrated camera operator succumbed to death.
It's actually very pitiful, and I want to say that those of us in Meme who have worked with Ogalai, I for example have worked with Ogalai since 2007. Obu Ivo was his name, and we knew him as Ogalai. He had wonderful programs at the time when we were at Ocean City Radio as colleagues. Then he later moved to other media houses. I think it's actually so much of a loss.
Obu Ivo has been one of the pioneers in radio journalism in Meme Division. When he started with the Ocean City Radio Kumba, moved to the Lakeside radio station, and later on a TV station based in Douala, where he served as a camera operator till death.
It's a great loss for the media family nationally and the level of Meme Division and beyond. Ogalai is one of those oldest media professionals we have around in the audiovisual world. He's made a mark in radio journalism, and of course, those who watch Equinox regularly, they know that Ogalai has been able to overcome the storms within this crisis and up to the field. He's one of those persons who brought out the first images from Kwakwa when it happened sometime in 2018. So it's really a great loss, and I think it will take a very long time for us to have somebody else that will step into his shoes.
Obu Ivo has been sick for years, but was courageous enough to have answered present in all news gathering events around the Southwest region, despite his challenging health situation.
I think the demise of Ogalai is a great loss to the Kumba Media family. He's a very courageous TV personality who has braved the odds. I think we're going to miss his jovial. He's somebody who is very jovial. He makes colleagues happy no matter the situation. So we're going to miss it. We're going to miss him a lot.
He died on Tuesday, 6 August 2019, at the Presbyterian General Hospital, Kumba, Cameroon. His colleagues say Obu Ivo's demise is a great loss to the journalism corps.
It's a very sad moment for the media family and for the Lakeside radio station in particular. We are just going to miss him. He has left a lot of listeners behind, and it's just like a shock.
The president of the Cameroon Association of English-speaking journalists, Senyambo Divine, says Ogalai has been a very active member in the association and had become strong and healthy in his last days on earth. The body of Obu Ivo lies cold at the Kumba District Hospital mortuary. He leaves behind his family, friends, and fans to mourn him.
Just pray that his soul rests in perfect peace.
In sports, Lomsom Quarter FC and Livanda Village FC have qualified for the knockout stage of the 2019 Limbe City Council Interquarter Football Tournament. Details with Echu Tabot in Limbe.
A mammoth crowd came out yesterday to watch the football encounter between Lomsom Quarter FC and Livanda Village FC in the ongoing Limbe City Council Interquarter Tournament. The match, which ended with a draw with 1 goal credited to each side, saw both teams qualified for the knockout stage of the said competition. The encounter, which pulled several spectators from all around the city of Limbe, also had intriguing demonstrations by respective fan clubs that built enormous euphoria to the ongoing games.
That sports report ends today's edition of our Prime News on My Media Prime. But before we go, a reminder of our top stories. Men of God in Tiko municipality have been called upon by the divisional officer to gather around and pray for peace in Cameroon. Many families have been rendered homeless in Babise village, Gokijunja division, following heavy downpour which caused floods in the village. Cameroon's Minister of Public Works has expressed dissatisfaction over construction works on some earmarked projects in a littoral region. The news was produced by Ewane Eli. I am Genda Pelgrim Blanche King. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow same time, God willing, for another edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Prime Hour continues with Kum Leonard and his panelists. Good night.
De l'inédit au Cameroun, le tout premier collège canadien ouvre ses portes dès septembre 2019. Performance Education Center, en partenariat avec les grandes écoles canadiennes, offre aux élèves du second cycle un cadre prestigieux, calme et propice pour des études avec des enseignants chevronnés canadiens et camerounais. À Performance Education Center, obtenez le baccalauréat canadien, vous ouvrant automatiquement les portes des plus grandes universités canadiennes et du monde via les bourses d'études garanties. Performance Education Center propose également des programmes de formation bilingue de 2 ans permettant d'obtenir un permis de travail au Canada après obtention d'une attestation d'études collégiales du Québec équivalent du BTS sous l'assistance de Performance Immigration Canada. Performance Education Center est situé à Locbessou, derrière Antenne CRTV, 10e avenue. Performance Education Center, visa vers le Canada et le monde.
Being one of more than 200 majors of HIPMAT, I am proud of my success. It all began at HIPMAT.
I am a CEO. I coach and lead a team of salespeople. I don't hesitate to tell them the vision was planted and molded by HIPMAT.
Today, I stand on a pedestal of experienced and committed lecturers. The foundation was laid by HIPMAT.
For over a decade, HIPMAT's credibility and ministerial recognition have trained more than 15,000 professionals in business management and engineering from HND to BTech, MBA and what have you. With an outstanding partnership with the University of Bamenda for BTech and MBA programs, our undoubted commitment to your show's success is a reflection of the future you painted. The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, HIPMAT, a university for professionals.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are going to be discussing our first topic. As earlier announced, we have been talking about the very sorry situation of the roads in Douala, though our panelists are telling us that in the whole of littoral region and Cameroon as a whole, the roads are not good. But I think that Douala is peculiar, especially following what is happening in here, reason why we thought that we should discuss it. Meanwhile, if you are watching us, send us the name of your best school. It could be a nursery, primary, secondary, or a high school. At the end of the month, we are going to announce which school, according to our televiewers, is the best in Cameroon. Keep the votes coming. We know that some of you have been sending your votes already. I continue with you, Elvis Fatayo. we saw in the news the Minister of Public Works leaving Yaoundé to Douala to inspect construction works going on in the town of Douala. Before him, we had the Minister of Housing and Town Housing and urban Development. Now, she was here. She went to these same sites. She shouted at municipal authorities. She was scandalized at what was happening. The question I'll ask you is, how do we explain ministers leaving Yaoundé to come and inspect, ensure the perfect realization of projects that are ongoing in Douala, when we know that there is a governor in this region who is representing the head of state, when we know that there are regional delegates representing the respective ministers? These projects have been ongoing for months, why not, if not years today. How do we explain that ministers have to leave Yaoundé to come and shout at contractors and stakeholders for these works?
Well, the reason is very simple. You know, when you put a crooked system, it plays crooked music and you crooked dance from the crooked sound that comes out. Now, the very issue is simple here. You know, in the contract system, those who understand contract system, because we've had some time to report on contracts, operations in this country with public investment, budgets and all the like. You have divisional contracts, you have regional contracts, and you have what we call contracts from Yaoundé, from the central government. And so each of these contracts, or each of the contracts and the contractors, they have the tendency of always paying allegiance to those who are their supervisory authority. Now, in this case, you see, in the laws of Cameroon, as I said, it's a very funny system in this country. They don't really have that system whereby you could say that even if a contract comes from the central administration and is operating at the divisional level, the divisional delegate of public contract or public works could stroll there just to have a look and maybe report to the hierarchy. The kangaroo system does not permit that to function. And so, when you look at it, contracts are at the divisional level, that they are awarded at the divisional level. The divisional delegate has all it takes to cough on them and to shout on them. Those are done at the level of the region, probably supervised by the governor. You see, only the regional delegates and the governor have a say on it. And those that come from the central administration, the first system we have is that most of those contracts that come from Yaoundé are first of all given under conditions only best known to those from Yaoundé. Second aspect is that most of those who take contracts from the central administration are always arrogant to those who are on the ground. That is when I say arrogant, they are always very, very arrogant to the junior staffs or those who come from the level where they work. And so at the end of it, you realize that we've had situations whereby we go to Bamenda to look at the contract, and you go, somebody tells you, and the phone is that, first of all, the foolish system in the entire thing is that when contracts come from Yaoundé, Yaoundé does not instruct the region and then the division that, please, though it's from Yaoundé, try to put an eye and report to me. No. When it comes from Yaoundé, because they have their what they call 10% in most of the contracts, and sometimes the issue of 20-30% functions in those contracts. Those who are into contract understand this crooked, corrupt system that I'm explaining here. So at the end of it, you realize that with the contracts of the roads, for example, in Douala, because the contracts come from Yaoundé, there's no way a governor can have a direct control over them. Because in the first place, when you come there, they behave as if they don't even know you. Because they know their master is somewhere in Yaoundé, who is the only one who can tell them, correct this, or as per the job specification, and they correct. And so that is where we find ourselves, because we are simply harvesting from the monster we created over time because of corruption. And so at the end of it, when Minister Kecha comes, the Minister of Public Works comes, the people are forced to listen. But the question now is, who awarded them the contract? Another mix-up comes in. I cannot be in charge of public works and somebody else awards the contract. All right, public contract gives the work out on a job that is to be supervised by public works. So public works has every reason to be surprised as per what condition, how come that the person he's seeing on the field, from every indication, shows that he does not even master the job and is not following the job specification. So it boils back to the issue of mix-up, whereby we have a lot of corrupt stages put in place in the name of checks and balances on contracts. And that's why no matter how the kingdom come, if the entire government is not restructured, some of this kangaroo existence of ministries wiped up, the whole issue grouped under one canopy with one check supervised by somebody else, then we will only be singing a song and dancing the dance. Of course, if you ask the Chinese company how you got the contract, there are times you even take a contract, you sell it to another person. That's a third party comes into the contract. You now become a supervisor, whereas Yaoundé knows you as the project owner or as the project supervisor or the project executor rather. So at the end of it, you realize that when we look at these issues, the minister has everything to be surprised because he did not award the contract. A different minister awarded the contract and he only came to supervise because it is under his tutelage. The question now is, how come that somebody else gives a contract in my domain and then I come to supervise? So he must, from every reason, be surprised at what he finds. And it is in this system that we keep decrying every day, that you see billions of francs being wasted, people who are not competent picking up contracts every day. And the worst of it is that people who don't master the area are giving contracts. You pick a contract from Yaoundé, like in my village sometime in Bengui, somebody from Yaoundé got a contract from the central region who does not even master Bengui and the villages. And so he constructed a bridge in a funny style, and when the technicians came, the divisional delegate came and told him that that contract like that job was not well done. And he bluffed off and said he's not the divisional delegate of public contract. Who asked him or who sent him? So at the end, the whole issue ended like that. And at the end, the bridge is begging for concern as we speak.
Salmon Bias, la population de Douala en souffre. Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire pour l'instant? Parce que c'est pas facile.
La vérité, c'est que, Léo, il faut qu'on soit sérieux, il faut qu'on soit conscient. Le mal-être que la ville de Douala vit aujourd'hui est le même mal-être que toutes les villes au Cameroun vivent. Elles sont vieilles, elles n'ont pas été pensées, elles sont prises de coups par leur vieillesse, elles pèsent sur le poids de ce que toutes les infrastructures qui ont été mises sur pied sont dépassées, délabrées, vieilles et méritent d'être changées. En réalité, ce mal-être est le mal-être que tout le Cameroun vit, partant du sommet jusqu'à la base. C'est pour ça que nous demandons qu'il y a nécessité à ce que l'ordre gouvernant soit changé, que le nouveau cap soit donné au Cameroun, ce cap-là qui doit conduire une fois de plus au Cameroun vers les nouvelles bases, vers un nouvel ordre dirigeant qui aura de prime abord les vraies choses, les vraies options à donner aux Camerounais et qui va instaurer un climat de confiance qui permettra à ce que le Cameroun évolue. C'est quelque chose qui est difficile à vivre, Léo. Quand vous arrivez à Ndokoti le soir à 20h, je ne suis pas sûr qu'il y a un seul endroit au monde qui ressemble à Ndokoti à 20h. Ça fait pitié en même temps, ça donne des sueurs froides. Il faut être courageux comme M. Fatayon et vous. Et moi, qui acceptons de rester dans ce pays malgré tout ça. Parce que tous les jours, les Camerounais y vont, ils partent. Beaucoup préfèrent de mourir dans des eaux de l'océan Atlantique pour des traversées, plutôt que d'affronter les réalités que nous affrontons. Il faut que
quelque chose soit fait.
Mais bien sûr, oui, ce qui doit être fait dans tout le Cameroun, pas seulement à Douala. C'est que le Cameroun a un besoin urgent de passer à un autre type de direction. On doit passer à un autre type de gouvernance.
Avant d'y arriver, il faut que les gens de Douala soient soumis.
La vérité, c'est que, Léo, dans un contexte comme celui-ci que nous vivons,
rien ne peut changer.
J'avais dit, Léo, je prends ça sur ma tête, dans une autre télévision où je passais de l'information, que le Cameroun ne peut pas organiser la CAN 2021. J'ai été taxé de tout. Et tous les autres Camerounais qui allaient dans ce sens ont été taxés de tout. Aujourd'hui, on a passé ça comme du revers de la main. Nous disons que dans un contexte où c'est un prince qui décide de comment un pays fonctionne à sa guise et par moment, tout ce qu'il fait comme étant, le service public est perçu comme étant des dons. Le chef de l'État fait des dons pour construire des routes. Il fait des dons d'ordinateurs. Il fait des dons pour aller dans des compétitions. Il fait des dons pour qu'on organise la CAN. Et en conclusion, il n'est responsable de rien. Ce mode de gestion ne peut aider aucun pays au monde à se développer. La décentralisation qui était un mode de gouvernance qui pouvait apporter des fruits au Cameroun a été bloquée tout simplement parce que l'esprit de la corruption qui n'est pas encore fini et qui plombe, qui ne peut pas permettre à ce que ces projets-ci puissent prendre corps, n'est pas quelque chose qu'il faut accepter. Il y a nécessité à ce que l'ère de gouvernance change.
For George, is it time for heavy sanctions to fall on defaulting contractors, and why not the administrative and municipal authorities?
Well, like
must they always be pampered? Because if the works are not being done, it's because they're not doing their job.
You know, in this country, when a decree is signed, they only talk all about advantages that come along with the position. They hardly talk about sanctions as well. But you see, again, Leo, let us be honest with ourselves. We have a problem of impunity. And it has been making even the best of Cameroonian who want to give a benefit of doubt to the leadership, and you find it very difficult to even defend the status quo, because at every point in time you start asking whether do we see the things the same, do we actually perceive and feel these things the same as every other person. And so you see the last speaker, when he's talking from the perspective of somebody who is against, and he is clear, he's taking his position which is clear and assuming his responsibility. But now you see, taking a moderating stand in the middle, it becomes very, very difficult to even bring out certain elements that you can use to mitigate that we could also give a second chance. But I want to say everything put in place. An individual cannot make a country, unfortunately. You see, again, the responsibility comes from a very big chain. We have made it in such a way whereby, he said it clearly, that is a country whereby, especially those of you of the fourth estate, you always say it is a gift of the head of state, or high instruction. I've never heard any day you quote a low instruction. It's
we say
high instructions.
We are quoting.
Even up to today, the Prime Minister was going to inspect a water project somewhere. He is going there under the high instruction. Are we saying that these people can never take initiative of their own without waiting for high instructions to come from somewhere? But again, he concluded, and I want to agree with him, that if every person is giving him, the head of state of this country, the flowers, I think it's also balanced for him to also take the blame and assume the responsibility for the failures that he has also enjoyed the flowers. But unfortunately, we are living in a system where every other person seems to be clapping and saying that the prince is well dressed, while a lot of persons are seeing nakedness.
Okay, which is your best school? This one says St. Joseph College, Saseboya. The votes have started. This one says, good evening to you all in the studio. I think Yaoundé does not listen to opinion of its citizens for the development of this country. This country is totally rotten, and the only solution is total change of this regime in place. This regime is the worst thing that has ever happened to Cameroon. All roads in Cameroon are in the worst state, not only roads in Douala. Please, when you write, give us your name and where you are writing from. Good evening. Nice program. There. My best school is Emmaus Bilingual Complex, Cosby Mendong. That should be in Yaoundé. This is a citadel where success is built with motto. I ought, I can, and I will. No student comes here and goes back the same. Thank you. This one said, my best school is nursery school. Jeanette is writing from Kumba. Jeanette, which nursery school? Our country, Cameroon, has been led by people with no vision. That is why there is no accountability, planification, and expertise in our major projects. So until the present regime is wiped off, before we can have a great change in many things in Cameroon. Motale Ferdinand is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you all, Mr. Leonard. I really love your program. My best school is Atlantic Technical and Commercial High School, Limbe. Thank you very much. You people should keep them coming. Good evening to you in the studio. My best school is Sacred Heart College, Bamenda. This school has been scoring very good results in the past GCE and O levels. And I love the wonderful choir they have in the school. I love the program. This is Chi Bonaventure. Good evening, Mr. Combs. Since we are living in a centralized system, it will take the minister several months to come and check if the work is done or not. Even the governor cannot go to the field. I'm sure we talked about that, to see whether the company respects the contract or not. For me, if Cameroon was a federated state, such would not happen. Ewuba Felix Mpang writing from Yaoundé. Hello to everyone at the studio. My best school is the University of Douala. Hi to all my family in Kumba. My name is Wembe. Thank you very much. This one says, I've sent this. Okay, we go back to the newsroom to find out what stories our newspapers presented for their readers this morning.
Hello, good people, and thanks for joining us once again on In the Press on Prime Hour. And what is making news today in Cameroon? The Guardian Post is questioning if Ambazonia fighters have scared SDF out of the Northwest region. According to the paper, the SDF has since 2019, when the armed conflict in the Northwest and Southwest region of the country worsened, moved its NEC meetings, which traditionally hold at Frundis Ntarikun residence, to Yaoundé and Douala, and party activities in its northwest stronghold have been grounded, while the last SDF public gathering in the region was its 2018 convention held under tight security. Tribune d'Afrique took interest this day in the case of Yves Michel Fosso, the former general manager of Cameroon Airlines Corporation, who has been sentenced twice by the Special Criminal Tribunal. The paper ponders if Yves Michel Fosso would die in prison. President Biya has ordered for his medical evacuation, and the son of the multi-billionaire of Banjul is still blocked in prison. While Info Matin revisit the Ezeka train accident, the paper says controversy surrounds the number of victims of the sad incident, as the figures presented to Parliament by Transport Minister sharply contradicts that published by the Prime Minister and Head of Government. The national bilingual daily, Cameroon Tribune, focuses this day on the media campaign launched by the National Commission on Bilingualism in a bid to preserve national unity and territorial integrity. According to Cameroon Tribune, the Musonge-led commission has launched a campaign to sensitize the public on the danger of hate speech in Cameroon. While Oswa newspaper says some top military officers have been sentenced for life by the Special Criminal Tribunal in Yaoundé. According to the paper, these military officers were found guilty of embezzling over 1.5 billion francs CFA, funds meant for the management of crisis in the Northwest and Boko Haram. We move to a Singan newspaper. The paper says some vandals of Brigade Anti-Sardinat have been neutralized at the Cameroon embassy in France as they try to smuggle themselves into the embassy. Le Quotidien newspaper this day took interest in the working visit of the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Madame Celestine Kecha, to Douala over the weekend. The paper says after visiting some major construction project sites, the minister was not impressed with the slow execution rate of those projects. During a meeting at the City Council Hall, the minister ordered the various contractors involved in those projects to speed up works. On to Mutation newspaper. The paper writes that Ephraim Inoni, Olangena Owona, and Iya Mohammed have dragged other Kondengi detainees to court for theft, rebellion, aggression, amongst other charges during the mutiny which took place at the prison. That does it for In the Press on Prime Hour.
Thank you very much, Lasha Kingsley, for that review. We continue out here in the studio with our second topic for the day, that is asking Cameroon low-cost housing projects for the rich or the poor. They call it low-cost housing. And in French, they say les logements sociaux, that aims at assisting those who cannot afford to construct a house to easily get a house. I will start with you, Fra Elvis Tayon. When you listen to this, you read it, low-cost housing and what obtains out there, is it apt to call them low-cost housing?
Well, let me inform or remind the government official it should be called high-cost housing. They should go and remove the low, and then they put high. Because when they put low, we can even charge them for deceit. And the lawyer is even here. So they'll be having lawsuits very soon, charge them for deceiving people that is low cost when it is high cost. And of course, as you get the question through correctly, Leonard, you see, when you look at the conditions of and what it takes to get access to those houses, you begin to understand that it is not really matching in line with what is often said. So it becomes now a political slogan. It is a governmental propaganda whereby they deceive people. I've said deceit, fat deceit, capital letters. They keep deceiving people as if they are catering for those who are the underprivileged. Whereas at the end of it, there are people who are on retirement. There are high state personnel who occupy those houses. Then you start asking yourself, where is the place for the common man, you and I? If I go there that I need to get a house there, the assignment will be, do I belong to a particular party? Do I have connections with those kangaroo people who rule illegally? It becomes a whole complex issue. So at the end, the low-cost housing that they say it is taking taxpayers' money to construct houses and give to political supporters and those who can dance to the regime's rhythm, which is a bad thing as per se.
Which is a bad thing as per se. Salomon Bias, pourquoi est-ce que ceux qui sont considérés pauvres ne s'identifient pas avec ce projet?
Effectivement, parce que nous sommes dans un pays où les choses ne se font pas comme elles devraient se faire. Le projet de construction des logements sociaux, c'est quelque chose qui se fait partout, dans tous les pays au monde, parce que le logement, c'est un droit. Alors, l'État doit créer des conditions pour loger ses nationaux. Les logements sociaux ont été pensés dans le but de faciliter l'accès au logement, de prime abord, pour ceux-là qui n'ont pas encore la capacité d'avoir un logement, n'est-ce pas, décent, convenable à leur personnalité, à savoir ceux qui viennent d'accéder peut-être aux fonctions publiques, les professeurs de lycée, pas encore intégrés, ou alors les instituteurs, ou les jeunes fonctionnaires, même les particuliers dans des secteurs privés, n'est-ce pas, qui n'ont pas encore une certaine ossature. Mais aujourd'hui, on s'est rendu compte que ces logements sociaux qui étaient destinés, n'est-ce pas, à apporter de l'aide aux populations sinistrées, qui pouvaient être peut-être des expatriés, sans aucune condition encore au préalable dans notre pays, est devenu, n'est-ce pas, quelque chose, des logements faits de commerce. Parce que, vous vous rendez compte, Léo, ceux qui occupent ces logements ne sont pas des personnes qui souffrent de quoi que ce soit. On se rend bien compte que ce sont des magistrats, des chefs de services publics, qui peuvent bien se payer un logement. On se rend bien compte que ce sont des grands officiers, n'est-ce pas, de l'armée qui occupent ces logements sociaux. Et ce qui est encore très mauvais dans cette histoire, selon les informations que nous recevons, c'est qu'en réalité, par moment, certaines personnes souscrivent, déménagent après avoir construit leur maison et mettent ça en location à leur propre compte. Ça, c'est quelque chose qui est encore très dangereux. Et dans un autre sens, pour avoir accès à ces logements, vous êtes obligé de passer par quelqu'un qui vous loue ce logement à un prix supérieur à celui que la loi prévoit. Ce sont des faits au préalable que nous récoltons tous les jours. Et la population camerounaise qui vit, n'est-ce pas, en deçà des 36 000 prévus par le SMIC, vit dans la rue, dans des conditions effroyable. Vous allez partir dans des quartiers, peut-être comme un village. Vous arrivez dans des endroits, vous voyez la misère, vous la touchez du doigt. Essayez de voir comment les familles vivent là-bas. À la moindre occasion où il pleut, partout c'est inondé. Et nos gouvernants regardent ça avec un air sans aucune compassion, un air de mépris sans aucune compassion, alors bien que des logements sociaux, qui sont une bonne réalité pensée, pouvaient servir à beaucoup de jeunes, à beaucoup de ces familles-là, qui vivent des situations précaires et qui pourraient être, n'est-ce pas, une occasion pour eux de pouvoir bâtir un avenir afin de se projeter dans leur propre logement. C'est une situation purement désastreuse que nous vivons dans notre pays.
Pourquoi est-ce que les pauvres, c'est que
ceux qui n'ont pas une situation vraiment aisée.
Pourquoi ils ne s'identifient pas? Pourquoi est-ce qu'ils sont mis de côté?
Mais ils sont effectivement mis de côté parce qu'ils ne pèsent d'aucun poids, Léo. Nous sommes dans un pays que si vous ne militez pas dans un certain parti politique, si vous n'avez pas votre frère qui est au gouvernement, si vous n'avez pas votre frère qui est lieutenant, colonel ou général, si vous n'avez pas un frère qui est commissaire divisionnaire ou bien directeur d'une entreprise, vous ne valez rien. C'est un pays qui appartient à une tranche de personnes qui est assis, tapé dans l'aube et qui dirige ce pays avec une main de fer.
Good evening, my name is Nakomo Jim Kelly from Kumba. My best school is CCCHS, Kumba. Okay, Nakomo, that is recorded. This one says, good evening, good program you have there. My best school is Somerset Bilingual College, Moliko Boya. Caleb Manjong is writing from Kumba. For me, there is no best school in Cameroon because generally, the system of education in Cameroon is a mess. By Boris from Bomenda. Boris, you've written so well. I'm sure you were educated in one of these schools in Cameroon. Greetings to you all. Cameroon is a Jacobin system society where the government doesn't care for the welfare of its citizens. Cliffodo is writing from Cape Town. My best school is GHS Nkamlikum. Ruben is writing from Kumba. Good evening to you all. My best school is PCHS Kumba. Manly Nadia writing from Cape Town, the Green City. This one reads, good evening to you. In the studio, my best school in Cameroon is PCSS Boya Kombe Jr. Writing, I'm sure, from the City of Excellence. Mr. George, tell us the objectives of such a project, low-cost housing in a country like Cameroon.
Yes, I will not definitely fall in the trap of trying to situate that adjective within the context of this discussion this evening. What I know about that project is that it is supposed to be social housing.
Yes.
That's what exists in development literature. So low or high is something else. But I want to say the whole philosophy about housing for citizens of a particular country, especially as a government responsibility, is very, very good. This came as a result of the creation of parastatals like SIC, Credit Foncier, and those other institutions, which Credit Foncier is there to finance real estate projects, while SIC is there to construct houses and then lease them out to Cameroonians. Unfortunately, the housing, first of all, the project is emerged in a whole scandal of mismanagement, because the cost, when the current what they call emergency 3-year plan that is almost coming to an end, it was intended that each of the 8 regions will have 100 houses each for the past 3 years. I wonder whether that has been realized. Now, we are talking about the housing, and then you find a situation where there was a time that the contracts were actually withdrawn from those who originally had the contract and given and sold out to the Chinese again in one of those real estates that they are now completing, because the same Cameroonians also took monies and could not deliver. So the housing project is a whole shady type of arrangement that you find that you cannot get the head and tail. Now, when they even talk about the current social housing situation, do you know that the average Cameroonian, because I don't know how many Cameroonians have salaries of up to 200,000 a month, and we are expected that the average building of one of those apartments given out is 19 million. Mm-hmm. It means that if you take that house and they don't want to abuse their right by taking more than 50% of your salary, which means on average you're taking 100,000 from your salary every year in order to pay the mortgage of that house. It will take you at least 16 to 17 years of work for you to be able to pay, and then deprive yourself of a certain minimum. Now, why will I, earning 200,000, take a house to be paying 100,000 per month? It sounds illogical, because you know, again, our social structure. You stay in an environment where they know that you are a category A person, and probably you're the only person in your street or your whole village, your whole family, who has gone to a school that can be able to have access to a category A1 salary. You know the social pressure that you have on yourselves. Then you cannot, what excuse are you going to give to somebody who sees you in a very flamboyant house, whereby every month they are taking off 100,000 from your salary? You have to cope with 100,000. You paid transportation every day. You have a wife, you have children, you have to feed. And this element excludes utilities, water, electricity, taxis, and all of those things. So it tells you that even in all good intentions, it is inappropriately adapted to the average Cameroonian. I'm talking here about even the Cameroonians that we are talking about, those who have studied and have at least university education to enter the civil service or to enter whatever as category A1 person. It is difficult for you to even have access, even if the houses are available. So if it becomes now a social activity whereby the government is subsidizing and saying that, okay, let us give it out, I think they should begin, first of all, by subsidizing the cost of land, so that people can be able now to have access to the land and build a house that is convenient for them. Because this one is a house, there are people, most people would not need three-bedroom house.
Let me cue you. You are a development expert. Does this aptly tie with this notion of bottom-top or top-bottom?
Of course.
Where
I know where you're driving to. There is something in the ministry they call Project Tip, which means they have had a template that they just take. It is even scandalous at times that somebody who is a contract with that type of, in this country there's an arrangement that says the cost of a two-bedroom classroom is X amount. So that's what is in the ministry. If you go to the Department of Construction and Infrastructure in the Ministry of Education, they have that in their database. So every two-block classroom, it has the same cost and the same specification. And this was scandalous that they even had to send somebody to Bakassi to that same thing. Yeah. And the man, foolishly as he was, he only discovered that in Bakassi there was no hardware shop where you could buy cement. They had to come and buy cement from Limbe and had to pay ship or whatever for it to be transported to the Bakassi island area and the rest. So you see, we can turn around this thing and try to even pan a bit of massage the government at any way, but we'll discover that there are a lot of things that we have to do.
He says the project is not adaptable. I'm sure what you're trying to say has to do with contextualizing what obtains in different countries with the realities in Cameroon. Is this eloquent proof of the fact that decision makers are not aware of the real situation of the common man down there? Because he has illustrated that even if you were to earn 200,000 and above, it will be very, very difficult for you to even meet up with what is required to own a house like that. Now, we also know that the majority of Cameroonians do not earn up to 100,000 francs. So, who are these houses destined for?
Well, the main issue, as we keep saying, is that those who govern this country govern as if they live on another planet. So they just get up one morning and decide things and start executing. You know, those are the characteristics of a failed government. Because when you look at it critically, just like Prof. Mufo was analyzing here, you see that it becomes absurd that you have conditions for people to acquire low-cost housing when the living standards of the people has not even been ameliorated. So majority of the people live in outer poverty, majority of them are 100,000 and below, and so at the end of it, it comes back to favor just those who are from a particular class. And so that's why we say that the rich have access to the low-cost housing. Those who are political quagmires supporting the regime have access to the low-cost housing. And at the end of it, the real intention, that's the real target, that was supposed to be the common man, who sometimes earn 100,000, 80,000, 75,000, does not even get access to it. So at the end of it, there is a problem of what we call the putting in place of the governmental policy. As I said, the country that we are now has no clear-cut ways of operating. They cannot tell you that within this period of time, this is what we will do, which is concrete, of course. All they do is that they only carry out actions, first, taking into consideration their own interests at the top. Because the DOs, the directors, the embezzlers, the high-ranking personalities, this particular concept of low-cost housing suits them perfectly well and easygoing. But now on the common man and the downtrodden, it becomes difficult for them to get this access. First, what are some of the criteria? Another question comes in. Now, you must be able to link to somebody. You must be able to link to a particular network. Am I a substation president? Am I the president of this? Or do I militate in this? Or do I have the connection of my brother who is in Yaoundé, who is a director, also director? That is why we say that in Cameroon, the focus of operating in this country and giving services to the people has been lost. I mean lost totally. Okay. And so we are living in a state of oblivion where the things are just happening the way they are happening, and the powers that be have no feel or no pinch for it, because they believe that when they do like that, when it comes for periods when their votes are required, they could just bring their bags of rice, cubes of Maggi and all the like, cartons of soap, granite oil, and give to the people, and the people maintain them. But this time, it has already failed to them before the time even. If and only, there will even be things of that nature.
Tayon, we are here to discuss developmental issues. It's not time for campaigns, please. This one says, my best school is BCHS Boya. That is Baptist High School, Boya. Please, when you write, tell us where you are writing from and your name. The government of Cameroon would have given those houses to the displaced persons in the southwest and northwest region. Abuno is writing from Kumba. That's a great suggestion. Good evening. My best school is GBHS Mbengui. It is good in all aspects and especially in its infrastructure. Gideon is writing from Yaoundé. Thank you, Gideon. Hello, it's Abanda Princely from Akaka Junction. My best school is GBHS downtown. Bamenda is getting the more interesting. Acha Mabel says, good evening. My best school is GS Kai in Mbengui. Okay, Kai, good evening to you, Mabel. I've had opportunity to go to that school once. I'm sure he knows the school. GS Kai, you should know where Kai is.
Yes.
Okay, let me take some few messages again. Good evening, Mr. Kum. On those days, my best school was St. Augustine College, Kumbu. But for now, I think of any because anything is a mess in Cameroon. Kenneth writing from Kumba. Good evening, this is Fai Collins from Mutengene. My best school is Cambridge, Mutengene. Mr. Fai Evis, I have been missing you all this while. I saw you today. I was overwhelmed. Send. Okay. Good evening. My best school is GBHS in Yaoundé. Ferdinand from Yaoundé, please give us a name and tell us why the school is the best. Good evening to all. My best school is GTHS Ndop. Okay. Good evening to you all in the studio. This low-cost housing is a mess in Cameroon because one of these houses have been built in Limbe and has been abandoned in the bush. So I don't know why they build the houses in Limbe. Johnson is writing from Limbe. Good evening, dear panelists. My best school is GBHS Mbatu Bamenda. I am Francis and Dukum, writing from Bamenda. Good evening to everyone in the studio. I'm always at ease when watching this wonderful program, especially when we have guests like Mr. Elvis. Special greetings to you, Mr. Elvis. My best school in Cameroon is Bishop Rogan College. Support Fualefak Yannick is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening over there, sir. This is Dr. Smith from Kumba, from GHS in Kalikum, generally with sincere sense of view. There is no best school in the whole Cameroon now that whatever we see or experience in the East, Southern, and everywhere in Cameroon is just a patch-up for public illusion if truly Cameroon is one. Good evening. My best school is the Edge Bilingual Nursery and Primary School, Bonaberi, Douala, because it has a good Cameroonian pedagogy with a Western touch. Thank you. Good evening to you all. My best school is CPC Bali. My name is Ba Sama. Thank you very much. There is no best school in Cameroon because of the principals and directors are crooks. This is Joseph from Moyoka. My best school is GBHS Moyoka Baby G from Kumba. Good evening to you all. My names are Nakomo Paul Liase, and my best school is CCHS Kumba. Good evening in the studio. My best school is GHS Malinde. It's Gilberto Kenzo from Yoke Moyoka. Good evening to you all watching us from Moyoka subdivision. Good evening. I am Prince Will from Tole. My best school is GBS Moliko Boya. Hello, my best school is Kofele. Where is Kofele found? Good evening to you all. My best school in Cameroon is GTHS Bamenda, popularly known as Canada. Emmanuel Mbouil from Tarikon in Bamenda. Good evening. My name is Zamani. My best school is located in Kwakwa. He did not tell us the name of that school. My best school is Honor in Yaoundé. Zita writing. Cameroon low-cost housing is for rich, especially the government officials who are on retirement. Cliffodo writing from Cape Town. Now, quel est le problème que les logements sociaux ont sauvé au Cameroun? What is it that they have helped in solving Cameroon since the advent of this?
Les logements sociaux ont perdu de leur mission
au
Cameroun, ont perdu de leur valeur. Parce que le but, ou alors la mission qui était assignée à ces logements, qui était de pallier, de favoriser, n'est-ce pas, les couches sociales, de favoriser à pouvoir se loger à moindre coût, n'a pas atteint son objectif. Peut-être, et sans aucun doute, à cause des mauvaises politiques de nos dirigeants sur le logement, qui n'anticipent pas, qui ne contrôlent pas et qui ne régulent pas. Parce que vous ne pouvez pas être un gouvernement qui fait des choses à tête chercheuse et qui ne va pas dans le fond pour évaluer le fonctionnement des projets qu'ils mettent sur pied. Les logements sociaux, dans d'autres pays, aident à faire en sorte que ceux-là qui sont des défavorisés, ceux-là qui n'ont pas encore atteint, n'est-ce pas, un certain niveau, puissent obtenir un logement à moindre coût. Mais chez nous, nous avons vu la sortie des ministres, en l'occurrence au ministre du Travail, qui disait à suffisance qu'un Camerounais est capable de vivre avec 36 000 francs, avec 36 000 à la base, même après avoir travaillé pendant 150 ans. Est-ce qu'on est capable de s'offrir un logement à hauteur de 9 millions de francs? Je pense que c'est un rêve.
Okay, what should we fix in this whole scheme? in Cameroon?
No,
Social housing.
What we are doing, we are not inventing or reinventing anywhere.
Okay.
We should just adapt our development based on our realities. You go to other countries where the guys could live all their lives on debt, on mortgage and all of that, because they have an opportunity that they can get those mortgage, or even mortgage again to get other things like a car and all of those other facilities for themselves. And then the system is fluid. You have a social insurance scheme that protects you and all of that. But you have this particular scheme, you don't have any coverage. You fall sick after they have cut all the small monies that you have for the debt. You fall sick, you are in trouble. So it is just a good practice that has been wrongly applied.
Okay, what should be done to get this thing turned around?
Well, the only thing that should be done is that if Yaoundé government thinks that it should have the real face of what they call low-cost housing, it simply means that it should be adaptable to the common man. And how adaptable can it be? It means that it should be made in such a way that the government bears over half of the cost. And half of it, which means if you build a house, for example, and you estimate it to cost probably 8 million, you slash it down in the middle, because that is your own corporate responsibility, ensuring that the poor get better housing conditions. And so you slash it down and give it out to those who are earning salaries, say 150 and below. That's what we call the poor. Now, if you put this system, it means that many persons who see a house that has a value of about 8 or 10 million now being placed now at 4 million, well furnished, and then taking into consideration their salary scale, they'll easily go in. Now, for those who have 150 and above CFA, it will encourage them to go and buy a plot and build their own houses than waiting to enter the crooked system and then to come behind and pick low-cost housing in the name of being meant for them, whereas it's high-cost housing.
Okay, just to tell our televiewers that the votings are going to be counted. At the end of the month, we are going to declare who the best, the winner is. That is the best nursery school, the best secondary school, the best university. To remind us that last month, they were voting for the best mayor, and the best mayor was the mayor of Kumbu. So by the end of this month, we are going to declare which school, according to our viewers, is the best school. Good evening. My name is Nelly. My best school is GTHS Moliko opposite BGS. My best school is CPC Bali 5 William Nyuki, writing from Kumba. Good evening. My best school is PHS Kumba because I school there. My problem with Cameroon is that we can't differentiate ownership and entrustedship. Okay. Good evening to you all. My best school is Harper Wise Limbe. That's because in that school, it's either you pass or you must pass. Blinky Evie, writing from Douala. Thank you, Eve. Good evening, I'm Bami from Cape Town. My best school is Notre Dame in Yassa, Douala. Good evening to you all. My best school is GHS Womb. This is Mbonsonia, writing from Yaoundé. I also went to GHS Womb. Good evening. My best school is PHS Kumba because I schooled there. My problem. Okay. Lawan is writing from Kumba. Lawan, I took your message already. Good evening to you all. My best school is Les Savants Primary in Douala. My name is Odmia Destiny. Okay. Good evening. My best school is Step by Step High School, Mancon, Edel Queen, writing from Yaoundé. Good evening. My best school is GTHS Kumba. Sufati is good in terms of infrastructure and well-equipped laboratories, writing from Yaoundé. Concilia Kiawi. Okay. Good evening. My best school in Cameroon is Sacred Heart College, Mancon. I'm called Adi Dinamaus from Bomenda. Okay. Good evening, sirs. My best school is GS Kumatala. I'm Franklin, writing from Yaoundé. Lots of messages from Yaoundé this evening. Good evening to the crew. Low-cost housing project is a scam by the Cameroon government. Thanks. Okay, this one says, good evening. This is Mr. Eddie Rudolph Sakang from Bangem. My best school is GBHS Bangem with conducive environment. I've been to that school also. Good evening, everybody. My best school is Faith Call. Faith Call should be in Boya. Good evening, all of you in the studio. My best school is GHS Limbe because it has the best teachers. This is Young Brenda, writing from Limbe. That is the town of Friendship. Good evening. My best school is PCHS Bamenda. Greetings to the principal of Progressive, Azemo for David. My name is Kum Agu. Okay. Good evening. My best school is GBHS Downtown. It's a good in all aspects. It's Kiet writing from Douala. Please stop calling because we can't take a call. Good evening. I'm Ketum Rene. My best school is GBHS Tico. Okay. Hello. My best school is GTHS Nkwen. Emmanuel writing from Bamenda. Good evening. It's Tembe Ophelia. My best school is CCC Mancon Bamenda. Greetings to Elvis in the studio. I'm sure Elvis got your greetings. Good evening. My best school is GHS Isu. Wishing you all the best in the studio. Zong Felix Bun from Douala. Hey, Felix, you're watching us. Happy to know that. Good evening to all. My best school is GTHS Ndop. My best, okay. Jude says Ndop. Good evening. My best school is GTHS Ndop. Again, another person. Good evening to you guys. It's Vitalis from Bamenda. My best school is PCHS Mancon because of its rules and regulations. Okay. With a well-trained principal, okay? I'm Hussein Saleh. My best school is Kas Bambili. This one says, good evening. My best school in Cameroon is Baptist Academy, Yoke Moyoka. Okay, many people are watching us from Moyoka today. Good evening. My name is Tangmo Brian. My best school is GTHS Ombe. Good evening. I'm Estella Mbushi. My best school is Seget Bonaberi. I love your program. Greetings to all viewing the channel. My best school is Keget Bonaberi. It's John Dibola from Dubai. Okay, Dubai is, I'm sure, the Dubai of Bonaberi. Good evening. This Leonard Ngu from Bamenda. My best school is PSS Mancon. We have to end here, but anybody who has voted, please, I'm going to count them. At the end of the month, we are going to read out the winner for today. Bonsoir. Merci d'être venu.
C'est moi qui vous remercie, M. Koum Léonard. Je remercie de nombreux téléspectateurs qui accordent du temps pour essayer de regarder la télévision Prime TV. C'est un honneur pour moi de servir les Camerounais qui aujourd'hui sont en proie à un système qui est dépassé. Et je profite pour leur dire d'être courageux parce que nous ferons tout pour que les choses puissent se rétablir parce que l'avenir est en avant.
Good evening. It's Comfort from Kumba. My best school is Eta College. Thank you for coming. George, Mr. Mofo.
Thanks for inviting me, and nothing is over until the Almighty says it is over. Let's keep hoping things will change for the better.
Good evening. My name is Afoka Brian. My best school used to be PCHS Mancon Bamenda when the region was politically stable, writing from Douala. Striker, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Special good evening to Adela Ewane, my good friend watching from Kumba as we speak. And as usual, to my good friend, Mr. Nana, that's a teacher from CPC Bali, who's watching us here in Douala. And just to let you know that I'm happy when I get people queuing out with the messages and voting, and people should keep defending their alma mater because my own alma mater is CPC Bali. If I were to vote, then I would say my best school too is CPC Bali or GBHS Limbe, where I had my high school. All right. All the same, the voting goes on. I think I will take part too. When I'm not on panel, I will have to take part. But then I think that we'll continue to denounce the evil system of governance we have in this country till the government surrenders or does the right thing.
My best school is CKC Tiko, is Leke Dilan, writing from Yaoundé. We want to thank the production team. To you, Eli, we say we are immensely grateful. And to you, Frank. To you, Desmond. And to you, Fitata, who assisted us out here. To you, Tabi, Brian, who is supervising all we are doing out here. We say thank you. We equally want to say we are very grateful to all those who have written. The messages are tremendous. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.